4 miles. A 12-year-old homeless girl carried a blind boy 4 miles through Arizona heat that kills grown men. Her legs gave out at the gate. She collapsed face first into the dirt, still holding him, still protecting him with her own body. She didn't know 50 bikers were watching. Didn't know the boy's father was the most feared man in Phoenix. Didn't know that tomorrow morning the thunder of 40 Harleys would shake the ground beneath the highway bridge she called home. They weren't coming to hurt her. They were coming to change her life forever. Before we continue, if stories about courage and unexpected kindness move you, please subscribe to this channel. We share stories that remind us what humanity looks like when it matters most. A like or share helps these stories reach others who need them. Comment your city below so we can see how far this story travels. Thank you for being here. The crying started soft. Lily Chen pressed herself deeper into the shadow of the concrete pillar, her body going still the way it always did when something unexpected happened. 18 months on the streets had taught her that unexpected usually meant dangerous. But this sound wasn't dangerous. It was broken, small, desperate. The kind of crying that came from a place so deep it scraped the bottom of someone's soul. Lily's stomach cramped with hunger. She hadn't eaten since yesterday morning when she'd found half a breakfast burrito in the trash behind the gas station. Her body wanted to ignore the sound to stay hidden to survive another day, the way she'd survived 500 days before this one. But her feet were already moving. "Hello," she called out, her voice cracking from disuse. She didn't talk much anymore. There wasn't anyone to talk to. The crying stopped, then started again, more frantic. Lily moved faster, picking her way through the debris of the abandoned construction site that bordered her bridge. Glass crunched under her worn sneakers. The Phoenix sun hammered down on her shoulders, but she barely noticed. Heat was just another thing she'd learned to endure. She found him behind a pile of concrete rubble. A little boy, maybe 6 or 7, curled into himself like he was trying to disappear. His hands were scraped and bleeding, reaching out toward nothing. His face was streaked with tears and dust, creating muddy trails down his cheeks. But it was his eyes that made Lily's breath catch. Clouded, unfocused, staring at everything and seeing nothing. Blind. Completely blind. "Hey," Lily whispered, dropping to her knees in the dirt. "Hey, it's okay. I'm here." The boy's head whipped toward her voice, but his eyes couldn't find her. "Who's there? Who's there?" His voice cracked with fresh terror. "Please don't hurt me. Please." "I'm not going to hurt you." Lily kept her voice soft, the way she talked to the stray cats, who were her only friends. "My name is Lily. What's yours?" Ethan." He was shaking so hard his teeth chattered despite the 100-degree heat. "Ethan Walker. I can't find my class. There was wind and dust everywhere, and my teacher let go of my hand, and I couldn't hear anyone anymore, and I walked and walked, but everything was wrong, and I don't know where I am, and I want my daddy." The words tumbled out in a rush, each one more desperate than the last. Lily's chest tightened. She knew that desperation. Knew it like she knew her own heartbeat. "How long have you been out here, Ethan?" "I don't know." His voice broke. "A long time. The sun got really hot. I tried to find shade, but I couldn't see where to go. I kept falling down." He held up his bloody hands as proof. Lily pulled the water bottle from her backpack. It was half full. Her only supply until she could find a working public fountain. Giving it away meant going thirsty in heat that killed people every summer. She unscrewed the cap and guided it to his lips. "Drink this, all of it." Ethan drank desperately, water spilling down his chin in his eagerness. When the bottle was empty, he wiped his mouth and asked in a voice filled with wonder, "Are you an angel?" Lily almost laughed. Her an angel, with her dirty clothes and empty stomach and life lived in shadows. No, sweetie, I'm just someone who heard you crying. My daddy says angels don't always have wings. Sometimes they just show up when you need them. Lily's throat tightened. She couldn't remember the last time anyone had spoken to her with such innocent trust. Where does your daddy work, Ethan? Do you know an address? I don't know addresses, but he has a motorcycle. It's really, really loud. He says it sounds like thunder. That didn't help much. Thousands of people in Phoenix had motorcycles. What's your daddy's name? Derek. Derek Walker. He's really big and he has pictures on his arms. Lily felt a small wave of relief. A name was something. She could ask people. Find a police officer. Get this boy home. Okay, Ethan, I'm going to help you find your daddy. But we need to walk. Can you walk? Ethan tried to stand and immediately stumbled. His legs gave out and he collapsed back to the ground, crying fresh tears. My legs don't work right. They're too tired. I walked so much already and I kept falling and I can't do it anymore. Lily looked at him. Really looked. He was small for 7, maybe 50 pounds. And she was 12, malnourished, exhausted from another night of broken sleep under a bridge. Every survival instinct she'd developed screamed at her to find another way. Call for help, flag down a car, do anything except take on a burden her body couldn't handle. But Ethan was crying again. Soft, hopeless tears from a child who had given up. And Lily remembered. She remembered being 10 years old, standing beside her parents' coffin, with no one to hold her hand. She remembered the foster homes that promised safety and delivered nightmares. She remembered the night she'd run away terrified and alone, praying someone would find her and help her and care that she existed. No one came. She'd been invisible then. She was invisible now. But this boy wasn't invisible to her. Climb on my back, Lily said, turning around and kneeling down. I'll carry you. But I'm too heavy. You're not that big. I'm bigger than I look. Come on, Ethan. Hold on to my neck. His small hands found her shoulders, tentative at first, then tightening with desperate hope. His arms wrapped around her neck, his legs locked around her waist. Lily stood slowly, her muscles screaming protest. 50 pounds shouldn't feel this heavy, but when you hadn't eaten properly in 18 months, everything felt heavy. Are you okay? Ethan asked, his voice worried. I can try to walk again. I don't want to hurt you. You're not hurting me, buddy. We're going to find your daddy. I promise. She started walking. The Phoenix sun was merciless. Lily had lived through 2 summers on the streets, but carrying Ethan turned the familiar heat into something brutal. Sweat poured down her face, stinging her eyes. Her shoulders burned under his weight. Her legs trembled with every step, but she kept moving. 1 foot in front of the other. That's all survival had ever been. 1 foot in front of the other, until somehow you made it through another day. Lily. Ethan's voice came soft against her shoulder. Yeah, buddy. Are you homeless? The question hit her like a punch. Kids didn't usually notice. Adults walked past her like she was invisible, but kids sometimes saw things adults couldn't. Why do you ask that? Because your backpack smells like the park, like trees and outside. And you gave me all your water even though you're thirsty too. I can hear how dry your voice is. Lily's throat tightened. This blind 7-year-old could read her better than anyone had in 18 months. Yeah, she said quietly. I'm homeless. For how long? A while. Is it scary? Sometimes, but I'm okay. Ethan was quiet for a moment. Then, I'm sorry you don't have a home. That's really sad. Lily's eyes burned with tears she refused to let fall. Thanks, buddy, but don't worry about me. Let's focus on getting you home. When we find my daddy, you should come with us. Daddy helps people. He'll help you too. We'll see, Ethan. We'll see. She didn't believe it for a second. Adults didn't help kids like her. She'd learned that lesson a dozen times in a dozen different ways. But she let him hope. Hope was free, and he was just a little boy. They'd been walking for almost an hour when Lily saw the gas station. Her legs were shaking so badly she wasn't sure she could keep going. She needed water, needed rest, needed someone to point her toward a police station or a phone or anything that could help. She lowered Ethan gently against the wall and approached a woman pumping gas. Clean clothes. Nice car. The kind of person who might actually help. Excuse me, ma'am. This little boy got separated from his class during the dust storm. He's blind and he can't find his father. Do you know where the nearest police station is? The woman looked at Lily. Really looked at her. And Lily watched it happen. The moment recognition clicked. The way the woman's eyes traveled over Lily's dirty clothes, her tangled hair, her too thin frame. The way her expression shifted from polite attention to something like disgust. I don't know, the woman said, her voice suddenly cold. You should ask someone else. She got in her car and drove away without another word. Lily's face burned with familiar shame. She'd stopped being surprised by this a long time ago, but it still hurt. Every single time it still hurt. What happened? Ethan asked. Did she help us? Lily walked back to him, lifted him onto her back again. No, buddy. She was busy. We'll find someone else. Oh, he paused. People at my school sometimes act weird around me because I'm blind. Does it hurt your feelings when people are mean to you? Sometimes. It hurts my feelings too. But my daddy says some people are just scared of things they don't understand. It's not really about us. It's about them. Lily thought about that as she kept walking. This 7-year-old blind boy had more wisdom than most adults she'd ever met. Your daddy sounds smart. He's the smartest and the strongest. He'll find us. I know he will. Lily didn't have the heart to tell him the truth, that no one was looking for her, that she'd have to find his father herself because the world didn't send rescuers for kids like her. But for Ethan's sake, she let him believe. The second hour was worse. Lily's arms had gone numb from holding Ethan's legs. Her back screamed with every step. The heat had become a physical weight pressing down on her, making each breath feel like swallowing fire. She stopped at a park fountain to fill her water bottle, making Ethan drink first before taking small sips herself. Rationing. Always rationing. Never enough for everything, so you made everything stretch. I need to rest for just a minute, she told Ethan, lowering him onto a bench. Just 1 minute. She sat beside him, her body trembling with exhaustion. The temptation to lie down and close her eyes was overwhelming. Just 5 minutes, just a little break, but if she stopped now, she might not get up again. Lily, Ethan's small hand found hers. You're shaking. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're tired and hungry, and you're carrying me and I'm too heavy. His voice wobbled. Maybe you should just leave me here. Someone will find me eventually. You don't have to... Stop. Lily's voice came out sharper than she intended. She softened it. I'm not leaving you, Ethan. I promised I'd get you to your daddy, and I keep my promises. Why, because when I was alone and scared, nobody came for me. And that's the worst feeling in the world. I'm not going to let you feel that. Not if I can help it. Ethan's grip on her hand tightened. You're really brave, Lily. I'm really stubborn. There's a difference. But when she lifted him onto her back again and started walking, she felt something she hadn't felt in 18 months. Purpose. For the first time since her parents died, she mattered to someone. They found the taco truck just as Lily's legs finally gave out. She collapsed against a wall, barely managing to set Ethan down gently before her body simply stopped cooperating. Her vision blurred. Her hands shook. Every muscle she had was screaming for rest. A man's voice cut through her haze. "Hey, you two okay?" Lily looked up. Middle-aged, weathered face, kind eyes. Carlos stitched on his work shirt. "We're fine," she said automatically. The lie of survival. Carlos crouched down to their level. His eyes moved between Lily and Ethan, reading the situation with the wisdom of someone who'd seen hard times himself. "When's the last time you ate mija?" Lily's pride flared. "I said we're fine." "You're about to pass out and that little boy is blind and crying. That's not fine." His voice was gentle, but firm. "I didn't ask for your money. I asked when you last ate." The kindness in his tone cracked something in Lily's defenses. "Yesterday. Maybe." San Carlos shook his head and disappeared into his truck. He emerged minutes later with 2 plates piled high with tacos, rice, and beans. Steam rose from the food, and the smell hit Lily so hard her stomach cramped painfully. "Eat," Carlos said, setting the plates down. "Both of you." Lily guided Ethan's hands to show him where everything was. Taco at 9 o'clock, rice at 3, beans at 6. Ethan ate carefully, his practiced fingers finding food with precision. Lily ate slowly, forcing herself not to inhale everything at once. Her body wanted to devour it, but she'd learned the hard way that eating too fast after going hungry made you sick. Carlos watched them with an expression Lily couldn't quite read. "Where are you two headed?" Lily swallowed a bite of the best food she'd had in months. "I'm trying to find his father. He got separated from a school trip during the dust storm. His dad's name is Derek Walker." Something flickered in Carlos's eyes. "Walker? You know him." Carlos was quiet for a moment. "I know of him. He's with the Iron Wolves." Lily's fork froze halfway to her mouth. "The what?" "Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club. They control a lot of the East Side." Carlos's voice dropped lower. "They're not people you want to mess with, mija. Dangerous men." Lily's blood ran cold. She'd heard of motorcycle clubs. Everyone had. The leather jackets, the tattoos, the rumors of violence and territory and things that happened to people who crossed them. And she was carrying one of their children. "I need to take him home," Lily said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I promised." Carlos studied her face. "You're just a kid yourself. And you're willing to walk into that compound. He needs his father. There are other ways. Police, phone calls. You don't have to go there yourself." Lily looked at Ethan, who had stopped eating and was listening intently to the conversation he couldn't see, but could feel. "Is my daddy scary?" Ethan asked, his voice small and worried. "People always say mean things about him, but he's not mean to me. He's never mean to me." Lily's heart cracked a little more. "Your daddy loves you, Ethan. That's all that matters." She turned to Carlos. "Which way to their compound?" Carlos sighed heavily. He gave her directions, his voice filled with reluctance. Then he packed extra food into a bag and pressed it into her hands. "Be careful, mija. Those men, they take care of their own, but they don't trust outsiders. And a homeless kid showing up with their vice president's son." He shook his head. "I hope you know what you're doing." Lily didn't. She had no idea what she was doing. But Ethan needed his father, and she'd made a promise. The sun was setting when Lily heard the motorcycles. The sound rolled across the desert like thunder, deep and powerful and unmistakable. Not one motorcycle, dozens. The kind of sound that made the ground tremble and announced the arrival of something much bigger than one homeless girl could handle. Ethan's head lifted from her shoulder. I hear them. I hear motorcycles. That's my daddy's kind of motorcycle. Lily's legs had stopped cooperating an hour ago. She was moving on pure willpower now, her body running on empty, her mind focused on nothing except the next step, and the next, and the next. Then she turned a corner and saw it. The compound sat behind a chain-link fence topped with razor wire. Floodlights illuminated the evening like an artificial sun. Motorcycles everywhere, rows and rows of gleaming chrome and black metal, each one a statement of power. And beyond the bikes, men. Dozens of them. Maybe 50. All wearing leather cuts with patches that told stories Lily couldn't read, but understood anyway. Big men. Hard men. Men who looked like they'd never lost a fight in their lives. Lily's legs finally gave out. She collapsed to her knees 20 feet from the gate, barely managing to keep Ethan from hitting the ground. Her body was done. Completely, absolutely done. She couldn't take another step if her life depended on it. Lily, what's wrong? Why did we stop? She couldn't answer. Her breath came in ragged gasps. Her vision tunneled. She was going to pass out right here, right now, in front of a motorcycle club's compound with a blind boy on her back. Help, she whispered. It was all she could manage. Someone help. A shout from the gate. Hey, someone's out here. It's a kid. Then everything went blurry. Voices, running footsteps, hands reaching for Ethan. Is that, oh my God, is that Ethan? The world tilted sideways. The last thing Lily heard before the darkness took her was Ethan's voice, high and clear and desperate. Don't hurt her. She saved me. Please don't hurt her. She's my friend. Then nothing. What happens when a 12-year-old homeless girl wakes up inside a motorcycle club's compound? And what will Derek Walker do when he discovers that the person who saved his blind son is a child even more vulnerable than his own? Lily woke to voices. Loud voices. Angry voices. The kind of voices that made her survival instincts scream danger before her brain fully registered where she was. Who the hell is she? Some kid just collapsed at the gate. She had Ethan. She was carrying Ethan. How do we know she didn't take him? Lily's eyes snapped open. Her body jerked upright, ready to run, but strong hands pressed her shoulders back down. Easy, kid. Easy. You're safe. She wasn't safe. She was inside. Inside somewhere with leather and chrome and the smell of motor oil and cigarette smoke. Inside somewhere with massive men surrounding her, staring at her, talking about her like she was a threat. Where's Ethan? Her voice came out raw and cracked. Where is he? He's fine. He's with his father. The man speaking was older gray beard scars on his face that told stories of a hard life. Now you need to answer some questions, little girl. Lily's heart hammered against her ribs. I didn't do anything wrong. I found him. He was lost and crying, and I brought him home. That's all. I swear that's all. You expect us to believe a homeless kid just happened to find our VP's blind son and carried him here out of the goodness of her heart. I don't expect you to believe anything. Lily's voice shook, but she forced herself to meet his eyes. But it's the truth. The door burst open. A man filled the frame, 6'2" at least, built like he could break her in half without trying. Tattoos covering both arms crawling up his neck. Face hard and weathered, the kind of face that had seen violence and dealt it right back. But his eyes. His eyes were wild with something Lily recognized. Fear, relief, desperation, love. "Where is she?" His voice boomed through the room. "Where's the girl who brought my son back?" The older biker stepped aside. "Right here, Derek. But we haven't—" Derek Walker crossed the room in 3 strides and dropped to his knees beside Lily. She flinched back, expecting anger, expecting accusations, expecting the worst, because the worst was all she'd ever gotten. Instead, this massive, terrifying man took her hand in both of his, and his voice cracked. "Thank you." The words came out broken. "Thank you. Thank you. My son. You brought back my son." Lily stared at him. This wasn't what she'd expected. Nothing about this was what she'd expected. "Is Ethan okay?" she whispered. Derek's jaw clenched with emotion he was barely controlling. "He's perfect. He's asking for you. Won't stop talking about you. Lily this and Lily that. The angel who found him." He paused. "He said you carried him. For miles. In this heat." He couldn't walk anymore. His legs gave out. "So you carried him. I couldn't leave him there." Derek studied her face. Really studied it. And Lily watched his expression change as he registered what he was seeing. Her dirty clothes, her matted hair, her too thin frame, the bones visible at her wrists, the hollowness in her cheeks. "How old are you?" he asked quietly. 12. Something shattered behind his eyes. 12 years old. And you're living on the streets." Lily didn't answer. She didn't have to. Derek stood slowly, his hands clenching into fists at his sides, not in anger at her. Something else, something that looked almost like rage at the world itself. "Bring her to my son," he said to the room. "And someone get this kid some food, real food, right now." The older biker stepped forward. "Derek, we need to ask her some questions first. Protocol. Derek spun on him, his voice dropping to something dangerous. "A 12-year-old homeless girl carried my blind son 4 miles through Phoenix heat. She collapsed at our gate because she pushed herself until her body gave out. She didn't ask for money, didn't ask for anything, just kept going until Ethan was safe." He moved closer to the older man. "You want to interrogate her, go ahead, Big John. But you'll do it over my dead body." Silence filled the room. Big John held Derek's stare for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Take her to Ethan. We'll talk later." Derek turned back to Lily and extended his hand. "Can you walk?" Lily's legs felt like jelly, but she nodded. She didn't take his hand, though. Didn't trust the gesture. Didn't trust anything. She stood on her own, swaying slightly, and followed Derek out of the room. The compound was bigger than she'd expected. More people than she'd expected. Men and women both, all of them stopping to stare, as Derek led a dirty homeless girl through their midst. Lily kept her eyes forward. She was used to being stared at. Used to being judged. But these stares were different. There was no disgust, no dismissal. Just curiosity. And something else she couldn't quite identify. "Daddy, is that Lily?" Ethan's voice cut through everything. High and clear and desperate. Lily's heart seized. He was sitting on a couch in what looked like a living room, a woman beside him holding his hand. His head was turned toward the door, his clouded eyes searching for sounds he couldn't see. "Lily, are you there?" "They said you fell down. Are you okay? I was so scared when you fell down." Lily crossed the room before she realized she was moving. She knelt beside the couch and took Ethan's reaching hand. "I'm here, buddy. I'm okay." Ethan threw his arms around her neck so hard he nearly knocked her over. His small body shook with sobs. "I thought you were hurt. I thought I hurt you because I was too heavy. I tried to tell you I could walk, but you wouldn't listen, and then you fell, and everyone was yelling, and I couldn't see what was happening." Lily held him tight, blinking back tears. "You didn't hurt me. I was just really tired, but I'm okay now. See, I'm okay. Promise, promise." Ethan pulled back his hands, finding her face, touching her cheeks, her forehead, her hair, the way blind people saw. "You feel different. Did they give you water? You were so thirsty. I could hear it in your voice." "They gave me water." "Good." He nodded seriously. "You need to eat too. You're really skinny. I could feel your bones when I was holding on to you." Behind them, Derek made a sound. Something between a laugh and a sob. Lily turned to look at him. This massive, terrifying biker was crying, tears running down his weathered face, not even trying to hide them. "Sorry," he said roughly, wiping his face with the back of his hand. It's been a really long day." "Daddy's been looking for me since forever," Ethan said. "He called everyone. All his friends came to help. They were so worried." Lily thought about the dozens of motorcycles she'd seen, the dozens of men, all of them mobilized to find one little boy. She'd never had anyone look for her like that. Not once. "I need to go," she said, suddenly standing up. "Ethan's home now. He's safe. I should go." "Go where?" Derek asked. Lily didn't answer because the answer was nowhere. A bridge, a concrete pillow, a life of invisibility. "You're not going anywhere." Derek's voice was firm but gentle. "Not tonight. It's dark. You're exhausted. And you just carried my son 4 miles. He paused. "Stay. At least for tonight. Real bed. Real food. Tomorrow we figure out the rest." "I don't need charity. This isn't charity. This is me saying thank you the only way I know how." Derek stepped closer. "Please. Ethan would never forgive me if I let you walk out of here tonight. She has to stay, Daddy." Ethan's hand found Lily's and gripped tight. "She's my friend. She saved me. You can't let her leave." Lily looked down at Ethan's hand in hers. Such a small hand. Such complete trust. She thought about the bridge waiting for her. The hunger. The loneliness. Another night of sleeping with one eye open. "Okay," she whispered. "Just for tonight." Ethan's face split into a grin. Rosa, did you hear Lily's staying?" The woman who'd been sitting with Ethan stood up, smiling warmly. "I heard, sweetheart. Let's get your friend cleaned up and fed, shall we?" Rosa led Lily to a bathroom. Real bathroom. Hot water, soap, towels, things Lily hadn't had regular access to in 18 months. "Take your time, honey," Rosa said. "There's no rush." Lily stood under the hot water for 20 minutes. She watched the grime of 18 months wash down the drain. Brown water turning gray, turning clear, like she was shedding the streets one layer at a time. She scrubbed until her skin was pink, washed her hair 3 times, stood under the spray until the water started to cool. When she emerged, clean clothes were waiting. They were too big, clearly meant for someone older, but they were clean and soft and didn't smell like garbage. Lily dressed slowly. Her hands were shaking. This didn't feel real. None of this felt real. She looked in the mirror and barely recognized herself. Same face, but younger somehow. Less defeated. The girl staring back at her looked like someone who might have hope. Lily looked away quickly. Hope was dangerous. Rosa was waiting outside with a plate of food. Chicken, rice, vegetables. More food than Lily usually saw in a week. "Eat slow," Rosa said gently. "I know you're hungry, but your stomach needs time to adjust." Lily ate. Slowly. Methodically. Fighting the urge to shovel food into her mouth as fast as possible. Ethan was asleep on the couch, exhausted from the day's trauma. Derek sat beside him, one hand resting on his son's back, watching Lily eat. "How long?" Derek asked quietly. "How long have you been on the streets?" Lily swallowed a bite. 18 months. "What happened to your parents?" "Car accident. Drunk driver." "Foster system. 3 homes. First one didn't want me. Second one had too many kids. Third one—" Lily's voice trailed off. Derek's jaw tightened. "You don't have to tell me." "The foster father wasn't a good person." Lily met his eyes. "I ran before anything really bad happened." The silence that followed was heavy with understanding. Derek didn't push, didn't ask for details, just nodded. "How old were you when you ran?" 11. "You've been surviving on your own since you were 11 years old." "I'm good at surviving." Derek shook his head slowly. "You're 12 years old. You shouldn't have to be good at surviving. You should be worrying about school and friends and normal kid stuff." Lily almost laughed. "Normal isn't really in the cards for me. What if it could be?" Lily's fork froze halfway to her mouth. "What? I'm not saying tonight. I'm not saying tomorrow. But," Derek leaned forward, "what you did today, Lily. Nobody does that. Nobody sees a lost blind kid and carries him 4 miles through deadly heat. Nobody pushes themselves until they collapse just to keep a promise to a stranger. That takes something special, something rare. I just did what anyone would do." "No," Derek's voice was firm. "You didn't. I've been in this world a long time. I know what people do when they see a vulnerable kid. They look the other way. They convince themselves someone else will help. They protect themselves." He paused. "You didn't do any of that. You saw my son crying and alone, and you decided he mattered more than your own safety. That's not nothing. That's everything." Lily didn't know what to say. Nobody had ever talked to her like this. Like she mattered. Like what she did meant something. "Get some sleep," Derek said, standing. "Rosa will show you to a room. Real bed. You're safe here, I promise. You don't know me. Why would you promise me anything?" Derek looked at his sleeping son, then back at Lily. "Because you kept your promise to him, and I always repay my debts." That night, Lily slept in a real bed for the first time in 18 months. She woke up 3 times, convinced it was a dream. Convinced she'd open her eyes and find herself back under the bridge, hungry and cold and alone. But each time she woke, the soft mattress was still there, the clean sheets, the warm blanket. And for the first time in longer than she could remember, Lily Chen let herself feel safe. Morning came too fast, and not fast enough. Lily woke to sunlight through real curtains and the smell of breakfast cooking somewhere in the compound. For a moment she just lay there, afraid to move, afraid the spell would break. A knock at the door made her jump. "Lily," Rosa's voice, "breakfast is ready if you're hungry." Lily's stomach growled loudly enough that Rosa probably heard it through the door. She got dressed in the 2 big clothes and opened the door. Ethan was waiting in the hallway, bouncing on his feet. "Lily, you're still here. I told Daddy you'd still be here, but he said we should let you sleep and not wake you up, but I've been waiting forever. Lily smiled despite herself. Forever, huh? At least 100 years. She took his reaching hand. Well, I'm awake now. Good, because I have to show you something. Come on. But Ethan led her down the hallway with the confidence of someone who knew every inch of the space. His free hand trailed along the wall, counting doorways, navigating purely by memory and touch. They ended up in the living room where Derek was sitting with several other men. Big John, the older biker from last night. A younger guy with a scar across his jaw. 2 others Lily didn't recognize. The conversation stopped when they entered. Lily's instincts flared. She positioned herself slightly behind Ethan, ready to run if needed. Lily. Derek stood smiling. Come eat. Rosa made enough food to feed an army. But Big John wasn't smiling. He was studying Lily with eyes that had seen too much and trusted too little. We need to talk, he said. All of us. Derek's smile faded. John, she showed up at our compound carrying your son. We need to know more before we just accept her story. Lily's heart hammered. Here it came. The suspicion. The accusations. The moment when everything good got snatched away. I already told you what happened, she said, keeping her voice steady. I found Ethan behind an abandoned building. He was lost and scared. I brought him home. That's it. That's not it. Big John stepped closer. A 12-year-old homeless kid carrying a blind child 4 miles in this heat. That's not normal. I didn't say it was normal. I said it was what happened. Why? Big John demanded. Why risk yourself for a stranger? What were you expecting to get? Lily stared at him. Nothing. Everyone wants something. I wanted him to stop crying. Her voice cracked. I wanted him to find his dad. I wanted him to not feel alone. She paused. I didn't think about getting anything. I just thought about Ethan. Ethan's hand tightened on hers. Stop being mean to her, Big John. She's good. I know she's good. Big John's expression flickered. Ethan, I'm not being mean. I'm being careful. There's a difference. No. Ethan's voice turned firm in a way that surprised everyone. I'm blind, not stupid. I know when someone's being mean, and you're being mean to my friend. Silence. Then incredibly, Big John laughed. A real laugh, rough and surprised. Kid's got fire, he said to Derek. Wonder where he gets that. Derek wasn't laughing. He was watching Lily with an expression she couldn't read. John, he said quietly. Let it go. Derek, she's 12 years old. She's homeless. She's got nothing. Derek's voice hardened. And she pushed herself until she collapsed just to bring my son home. I don't care about protocol. I don't care about being careful. I care that my son is alive and safe because of a girl who had every reason to walk away and didn't. The room went very still. Big John held Derek's stare for a long moment. Then he sighed and looked at Lily with new eyes. Fair enough. He nodded slowly. I apologize, kid. We've had incidents before. Trust doesn't come easy around here. Lily didn't know what to say, so she said nothing. Now eat. Derek gestured to the kitchen. Both of you. And then we need to talk about what happens next. What happens next? 3 words that made Lily's chest tighten with something between hope and fear. She followed Ethan to the kitchen, his hand still gripping hers like he was afraid she'd disappear. Lily, he whispered as they sat down. Yeah, buddy. You're going to stay right? You're not going to leave? Lily looked at the food in front of her, at the warm room around her, at this little blind boy who held on to her like she was the most important person in the world. "I don't know, Ethan. I don't know what happens next. But you want to stay." Did she? Did she want to stay in a place that might reject her the moment she stopped being useful? Did she want to open herself up to the hope of belonging only to have it ripped away? Ethan's clouded eyes searched her face, seeing nothing and everything. "Yeah," Lily heard herself say. "Yeah, I want to stay." Ethan's smile was like sunrise. "Good. Because I already told everyone you're my sister now." Lily's heart stopped. "You told them what? That you're my sister? I never had a sister before, but I picked you. So now you're my sister." Lily Chen, 12 years old, homeless, invisible. Forgotten by the entire world, sat in a motorcycle club's kitchen and felt tears run down her face. For the first time in 18 months, they weren't tears of sadness. 3 days passed. 3 days of real beds and real food, and Ethan following Lily everywhere like a shadow who couldn't see but always knew exactly where she was. 3 days of waiting for the other shoe to drop. Lily knew how this worked. She'd learned the pattern in 3 foster homes. First came the honeymoon period. The smiles. The kindness. The promises that this time would be different. Then came reality. She watched. She waited. She kept her backpack packed and hidden under the bed, ready to run the moment everything fell apart. But something strange was happening. Something she didn't understand. The bikers weren't getting tired of her. If anything, they were paying more attention. She caught them watching her with Ethan, watching the way she guided his hands to show him where things were, watching the way she read to him slowly, letting his fingers trace the pages, watching the way she never got frustrated when he asked the same question 3 times. Tommy, the younger biker with the scar across his jaw, stopped her in the hallway on the 3rd morning. "Hey, kid." Lily tensed. "Yeah, I got a daughter. She's 7. Same age as Ethan." He paused, his voice rough. "I've been thinking about what you did, carrying him all that way, not leaving him." He shook his head. "If my girl was ever lost like that, I'd want someone like you to find her." He walked away before Lily could respond. It kept happening. Different bikers. Different moments. Small acknowledgments that she existed. That what she'd done mattered. Big John found her alone in the kitchen on the 3rd afternoon. Lily immediately went still, her body preparing for confrontation. Big John had made his suspicions clear that first morning. She hadn't forgotten. But he didn't look suspicious now. He looked thoughtful. "You know how to fight, kid." "What? Fight? Defend yourself. You've been on the streets for 18 months. Someone must have taught you something." Lily's jaw tightened. "I know how to run. That's usually enough." "Running's good, but sometimes you can't run." Big John studied her. "I could teach you, if you want." How Lily stared at him. "Why, because you're 12 years old, and you've got no one watching your back. And because—" He hesitated. "Because I was wrong about you. First day. I was wrong." The admission hung in the air between them. "I'm used to people being wrong about me," Lily said quietly. "That doesn't make it okay." Big John met her eyes. "I'm sorry." 2 words, simple words. But no adult had ever said them to her before. Not the foster parents who gave up on her, not the social workers who lost her file, not the teachers who looked the other way. "Okay," Lily whispered. Big John nodded once. "Okay." He walked away, and Lily stood in the empty kitchen trying to understand a world where someone like Big John apologized to someone like her. That night, Derek asked her to take a walk. Lily's stomach immediately knotted with fear. This was it. The conversation she'd been dreading. The moment when he'd thank her politely and explain that she needed to leave now that they'd done what they could, that it was time for her to go back to where she belonged. Nowhere. She belonged nowhere. They walked in silence until Derek stopped and turned to face her. "I need to tell you something," he said. "About Ethan's mother." Lily blinked. That wasn't what she'd expected. Her name was Sarah. She was the best person I ever knew. Derek's voice cracked slightly. She died 3 years ago. Cancer. Fast and brutal. Ethan was 4. I'm sorry. She was terrified when Ethan was born blind. Terrified she wouldn't be able to give him a good life. But she learned everything. Braille, mobility training. She made the world make sense for him. Derek paused. When she died, I didn't know how to do any of it. I'm good at protection, good at strength, but the soft things, the patience, the gentleness. He shook his head. I've been failing him for 3 years. Lily didn't know what to say. Then you showed up? Derek looked at her. I watched you with him this morning, reading to him, guiding his hands, never getting frustrated, never making him feel like a burden. His voice thickened. That's what Sarah used to do. That's what he needs. And I don't know how to give it to him. You love him, Lily said quietly. That's what he needs most. Love isn't enough if you can't show it right. Derek ran a hand over his face. He's asked about you 100 times. When you're coming back, where you went, whether you're eating enough. He let out a rough laugh. He's 7 years old and blind, and he's worried about whether you're eating enough. Lily's throat tightened. He picked you, Derek said. Told everyone you're his sister. I've never seen him attached to anyone like this. Not since Sarah. He paused. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Here it comes, Lily thought. The questions about her past, the doubts, the reasons why she couldn't stay. What do you want? Derek asked. Not what you think you should want. Not what you think I want to hear. What do you actually want? The question hit Lily like a physical blow. Nobody had ever asked her that. Not once in her entire life. What she wanted had never mattered. She'd learned to stop wanting things because wanting led to disappointment, and disappointment led to pain. I don't know, she whispered. Yes, you do. Derek's voice was gentle but firm. You're just scared to say it. Lily's eyes burned. I want to stop being invisible. The words came out before she could stop them. Raw, honest, terrifying. I want someone to look for me when I'm gone. I want to matter to someone. I want... Her voice broke. I want to belong somewhere. But I know that's not how it works. Not for kids like me. Derek was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, What if it could be... Lily looked up at him, not understanding. I'm not making promises tonight, Derek said. This isn't simple. There are things that have to happen. People who have to agree. But I want you to know that I see you. Ethan sees you. And I'm going to fight for you to have a place here if that's what you want. Why? The question tore out of Lily. Why would you do that? You don't know me. I'm nobody. I'm just some homeless kid who... You're the girl who saved my son. Derek's voice cut through her spiral. You're the girl who pushed herself until she collapsed because she made a promise to a scared little boy. You're the girl who's been surviving alone since she was 11 years old and still has enough kindness left to share her last bottle of water with a stranger. He stepped closer. That's not nobody, Lily. That's extraordinary. Lily couldn't breathe. The words were too big, too much. She didn't know how to hold them. I'm scared, she admitted. I'm scared you're going to change your mind. I'm scared I'm going to do something wrong and you'll send me away. I'm scared to hope, because hoping hurts more than giving up. I know. Derek's voice was rough with emotion. But here's what I've learned. Fear doesn't go away. You just decide that something else matters more. Lily wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. What matters more to you? My son. And now maybe you. The next morning, Big John called a meeting. Lily wasn't supposed to know about it, but she heard the men gathering in the main room, heard the low rumble of voices, heard her name mentioned more than once. She crept close enough to listen, her heart hammering. We need to discuss the girl. Big John's voice carried through the door. Derek wants to bring this to a vote. What kind of vote? Someone asked. Protection. Officially bringing her under the club's wing. Murmurs rippled through the room. She's 12 years old, another voice said. Tommy, maybe. She's not a member. She can't be a member. This isn't about membership. Derek's voice now. Hard. Certain. This is about family. About deciding whether she's one of ours. She's a homeless kid, Derek. Lily didn't recognize this voice. She's got baggage we don't know about. History we can't verify. We bring her in, we're taking on her problems. Her problems. Derek's voice dropped to something dangerous. She's been alone since she was 11. No parents, no family, no one looking out for her. The system failed her. Everyone failed her. And when she found my blind son lost and terrified, she didn't walk away. She didn't call someone else to deal with it. She put Ethan on her back and walked 4 miles in killing heat because she made a promise. Silence. That's the kind of person you want to turn away, Derek continued. That's the kind of character you can't see value in. I'm not saying she's a bad kid. Then what are you saying? More silence. Big John's voice cut through. Everyone here knows my opinion. I was wrong about her first day. I admitted that. What I've seen since... He paused. She's got something. Something you can't teach. Something rare. I vote we bring her in. I'm with Big John. Tommy's voice. My daughter's 7. Same age as Ethan. If she was lost and scared, I'd pray someone like Lily would find her. We owe this kid. We don't owe her anything. The skeptical voice again. She did a good thing. We said thank you. That should be enough. Enough for who? Derek's voice had an edge now. Enough for us to feel good about ourselves while we send a 12-year-old back to the streets. That's not what I... That's exactly what you're saying. She goes back out there, she's got nothing. No food, no shelter, no protection. She survives by being invisible, by hoping nobody notices her long enough to hurt her. Derek's voice cracked. She told me she wants to stop being invisible. She wants to matter to someone. And you want to send her back to nothing because it's not our problem. Lily pressed her hand over her mouth to muffle the sob building in her throat. She's got nowhere to go, Derek said quietly. And she saved my son's life. I'm asking you as brothers to give her somewhere to belong. The room went quiet. Then Rosa's voice softer but clear. I've watched her with Ethan. She's patient in a way most adults aren't. She makes him laugh. She makes him feel capable instead of limited. A pause. That boy lost his mother 3 years ago. He hasn't connected with anyone since. Not like this, not even close. Lily gave him something we couldn't. I vote yes. More voices now overlapping. She's just a kid. A kid who did what most grown adults wouldn't. We're a motorcycle club, not a foster home. We're family. That's what the patch means. Big John's voice rose above the rest. Enough. We vote. Everyone in favor of bringing Lily under our protection, officially raise your hand." Lily held her breath. Silence stretched for an eternity. "Unanimous?" Big John said finally. "She's ours." Lily's legs gave out. She slid down the wall, covering her face with her hands, sobbing silently. They chose her. They actually chose her. The door opened, and Derek appeared unsurprised to find her there. "You heard?" Lily nodded, unable to speak. Derek crouched down to her level. "This means you're not alone anymore. Whatever happens, you've got people in your corner. You've got a place to call home." "I don't understand." Lily's voice was barely a whisper. "Why? Why would you all do this for me? Because you showed us who you are. And who you are is family." Ethan's voice came from somewhere behind Derek. "Lily, Lily, are you crying? Why is she crying? Daddy, did something bad happen?" Derek stepped aside, and Ethan rushed forward, his hands finding Lily's wet face. "Don't cry," Ethan said urgently, his own voice wobbling. "Please don't cry. I don't like it when you cry." Lily pulled him into a hug so tight he squeaked. "I'm okay, buddy. These are good tears." "There's good tears?" "Yeah." Lily laughed through her sobs. "When something really amazing happens, and you can't hold all the feelings inside, those are good tears." "What amazing thing happened?" Lily looked at Derek, then back at Ethan. "I think I found a family." Ethan's face split into the biggest smile she'd ever seen. I told everyone you were my sister. Now it's official." "Now it's official," Lily whispered. Derek put a hand on her shoulder. "Come on. We've got some people who want to meet you properly." The main room was packed, every member of the Iron Wolves plus their families. Rosa was there smiling, Big John nodding at her with something like respect, Tommy giving her a thumbs up. And in the center of it all, laid out on a table, was a leather vest, smaller than the others, fitted for someone Lily's size. She approached it slowly, afraid to touch it, afraid it would disappear. "This is yours," Big John said. "Rosa made it. Worked all night." Lily picked it up. The leather was soft, well worn. On the back, carefully stitched, were words that blurred through her tears. "Iron Wolves family. Lily Chen. Protected." "This means everywhere you go, you carry our protection," Derek explained. "You're not just staying with us. You're one of us. Anyone messes with you, they mess with all of us." "Your family forever," Ethan added solemnly. He'd clearly been coached on what to say, but his sincerity was absolute. Lily put on the vest. It fit perfectly. Rosa hugged her. "Welcome home, sweetheart." Big John shook her hand. "You've got heart, kid. Don't ever lose that." Tommy ruffled her hair. "Always wanted another niece." One by one, the members came forward. Handshakes, hugs, words of welcome. And Lily stood in the middle of it all, wearing a vest that declared her protected, surrounded by people who had chosen her. 12 years old, homeless for 18 months, forgotten by everyone. And now, finally, she belonged somewhere. "Hey, Lily." Ethan tugged at her vest. "Now that you're official family, does this mean you'll stay forever?" Lily looked at Derek, who nodded. "Yeah, buddy," she said, her voice thick with tears she didn't try to hide. "I think it does." "Good." Ethan wrapped his arms around her waist. "Because I already told everyone at my school I have a sister now. If you left, I'd be a liar, and lying is wrong." Lily laughed, a real laugh, the first one in 18 months. "Well, we can't have that," she said. "Guess I'm stuck with you." "Stuck with me forever," Ethan agreed happily. Forever. Lily had stopped believing in forever a long time ago. But standing here wearing this vest, holding this little blind boy who had claimed her as family, she wondered if maybe, just maybe, she could learn to believe again. Rosa touched her arm gently. "You okay, honey?" Lily wiped her eyes and smiled. "I think I'm better than okay." "Good." Rosa squeezed her shoulder. "Because tomorrow we start getting your life sorted. School enrollment, medical checkups, everything a 12-year-old girl needs." School. Medical checkups. Normal things for normal kids. Things Lily had given up on ever having again. "And tonight," Derek added, "we celebrate, because family milestones matter." That night there was food and laughter and music. Lily sat between Derek and Ethan, overwhelmed by the noise and the warmth and the feeling of being included. At some point, Ethan fell asleep against her shoulder, his hand curled around hers even in sleep. Derek noticed and smiled. He does that, holds on to people he loves. He's a good kid. "He's the best kid," Derek paused. "And now he's got a sister who would walk through fire for him. I couldn't ask for anything more." Lily looked down at Ethan's peaceful face. "I've never had a brother before." "Well, you've got one now. He's loud, and he asks too many questions, and he'll follow you everywhere." "Sounds perfect." Derek laughed quietly. "Yeah, it kind of is." Later, long after everyone else had gone to bed, Lily sat alone in the room she was starting to think of as hers. Her backpack was still under the bed, still packed, still ready to run. She pulled it out, unzipped. It looked at the meager possessions inside. A spare shirt, a water bottle, a broken watch that had belonged to her mother. She'd been prepared to run for months, prepared for the moment when everything fell apart and she had to disappear. But tonight, for the first time, she didn't want to run. She wanted to stay. Lily took the broken watch out of the backpack and held it in her hands. Her mother used to wear it every day before the accident. It hadn't worked since, but Lily kept it anyway because it was all she had left. "I found a family, Mom," she whispered. "I think you'd like them. They're loud and scary looking, but they're actually really nice. And there's this little boy who can't see, but he sees me better than anyone ever has." She waited as if expecting an answer. None came, but somehow she felt less alone. Lily put the watch on her nightstand where she could see it when she woke up. Then she unpacked her backpack piece by piece and put everything away. She wouldn't need to run anymore. She was home. 2 weeks changed everything. Lily had a routine now. Wake up in a real bed, eat breakfast with Ethan and Derek, go to school while Rosa handled the paperwork that made her existence legal again, come home to a little blind boy who counted the minutes until she walked through the door. It should have felt perfect. Instead, Lily felt like she was waiting for an explosion. She caught herself holding her breath at dinner, waiting for someone to announce that the arrangement wasn't working. She flinched when Big John raised his voice, even when he was just excited about a football game. She kept her backpack ready, hidden in the back of her closet, even though she'd promised herself she was done running. Old habits didn't die. They just learned to hide better. "You're doing it again," Ethan said one afternoon. They were in the living room, Lily reading aloud from a book about pirates, while Ethan's fingers traced invisible patterns on the couch cushions. Doing what? Being quiet in the wrong way, not the good quiet when you're thinking. The scared quiet. Lily's chest tightened. This kid noticed everything. "I'm fine, buddy." That's what you always say when you're not fine. Ethan turned his head toward her voice. "Daddy does it too. You both think I can't tell, but I can always tell." "How?" "Your voice gets smaller, like you're trying to take up less space." He paused. Why do you want to take up less space, Lily? There's room for you here. The question hit her somewhere deep. I guess I'm still learning that. How long does learning take? I don't know. Sometimes a long time. Ethan nodded seriously. Okay, but can you try to learn faster, because I don't like it when you're scared. It makes me feel sad. Lily reached over and squeezed his hand. I'll try. Promise. Promise. But promises were easier to make than keep, and Lily's fear had 18 months of practice at staying alive. School was harder than she'd expected. Not the classes. Those came easy. Lily had always been smart, and 18 months on the streets hadn't changed that. She absorbed information like a sponge, catching up on everything she'd missed, impressing teachers who had been warned to expect a struggling student. No, the hard part was everything else. The other kids stared, whispered, wondered about the new girl who showed up mid-semester with no history and no friends. Some of them had seen her around before, back when she was homeless, back when she was invisible. They remembered. Hey, aren't you that homeless girl? A boy named Tyler cornered her at lunch on the third day. My mom said she used to see you digging through trash behind the grocery store. Lily's face burned. That was before. Before what? Before you conned your way into some biker's house. Tyler laughed. Everyone knows the Iron Wolves. My dad says they're criminals, so what, you're a criminal now too? Leave me alone. Or what you'll call your biker daddy. Tyler stepped closer. You don't belong here. You're still just that trash girl pretending to be normal. Lily's hands shook. Every instinct told her to run, to disappear, to become invisible again. But she wasn't invisible anymore. She had a vest in her closet that said she belonged somewhere. She had a little boy counting the minutes until she came home. I said, leave me alone. Her voice came out stronger than she expected. Tyler's eyes narrowed. You think you're tough now? You think, is there a problem here? A teacher appeared behind Tyler. Mrs. Rodriguez, who had been nothing but kind to Lily since her first day. No problem, Tyler muttered, backing away. We were just talking. He walked away, but his words stayed behind, burrowing into Lily's chest like splinters. You don't belong here. You're still just that trash girl. Maybe he was right. That night, Lily couldn't eat. She pushed food around her plate, answered Derek's questions in single syllables, and escaped to her room as soon as possible. Ethan followed his footsteps, careful and certain, in the hallway he knew by heart. Lily, can I come in? She wanted to say no, wanted to be alone with her shame and her fear, but this was Ethan, and she couldn't say no to him. Yeah, buddy, come in. He found his way to her bed and climbed up, sitting cross-legged, facing her. Something bad happened today. How do you know? Because you sound like you did the day I found you, before, when you were still scared all the time. Lily closed her eyes. Someone at school said some mean things. What kind of mean things? Just things about who I used to be, before I came here. Ethan was quiet for a moment. When people at my school say mean things about me being blind, my daddy tells me that their words only have power if I let them, that I get to decide what's true about me, not them. That's good advice. So what did the mean person say that you're deciding is true? The question cut right through Lily's defenses. They said I don't belong, she whispered. That I'm still just a homeless girl pretending to be normal. That's stupid. Lily almost laughed at his bluntness. Ethan, no, it's really stupid. His voice was fierce in a way she'd never heard before. You're my sister. You live here. You eat dinner with us every night. You help me with my books, and you make Daddy laugh, and Rosa says you're the best thing that's happened to this house in years." He paused. "How is that pretending?" Lily's throat tightened. "I don't know. I just feel like I'm waiting for everyone to realize they made a mistake. A mistake. Letting me in. Keeping me. Eventually everyone realizes I'm too much trouble." Ethan's hand found hers in the dark. "You're not too much trouble. You're exactly right. I knew it the moment you found me. How could you know that you couldn't even see me?" "I didn't need to see you." His voice was certain. "I felt you. You were gentle and scared and brave all at the same time, and you gave me your water even though you were thirsty. That's how I knew." Lily's eyes burned with tears. "Daddy says some people can't see what's right in front of them," Ethan continued. "But I can see lots of things without my eyes. I can see that you're good. I can see that you belong here. And I don't care if the whole world says different. I know what I know." A sob escaped Lily before she could stop it. Ethan scooted closer and wrapped his arms around her. "Please don't cry, Lily. Please don't leave. I don't want to lose my sister." "I'm not going anywhere," Lily managed. "Promise, promise." But late that night, after Ethan had gone to bed, Lily pulled out her backpack. She sat on her bed, staring at it, her mind racing. Tyler's words kept echoing. The looks from her classmates. The whispers she pretended not to hear. The constant feeling of being an imposter in her own life. Maybe it would be easier to go. Slip away in the night before anyone woke up. Before she caused more trouble. Before she disappointed the people who had taken a chance on her. The compound was quiet. Everyone was asleep. Lily packed silently. Just the essentials. Her mother's broken watch, a spare shirt, the water bottle she'd kept from before. She left the vest behind. It wasn't hers anymore. Maybe it never was. She made it to the front door before a voice stopped her. "Little late for a walk." Lily froze. Derek sat on the porch steps, a cigarette glowing between his fingers. He didn't turn around. "Going somewhere?" Lily's hand tightened on her backpack strap. I needed air." With a packed bag. Silence. "Sit down, Lily." It wasn't a question. Lily sat on the step below him, unable to look at his face. "You want to tell me what happened? Or should I guess? How did you know I'd be here?" "Because I've been watching you for 2 weeks, watching you flinch at loud noises, watching you barely eat, watching you wait for the other shoe to drop." Derek took a long drag of his cigarette. "I knew this moment was coming. I just hoped I was wrong." Lily's vision blurred with tears. "I'm sorry. For what? For being too much trouble. For making everyone worried. For not being able to just be normal." Her voice broke. "I tried. I really tried. But everyone can see what I am. They know I don't belong." Derek was quiet for a long moment. "You know what I see when I look at you?" Lily shook her head. "I see a 12-year-old kid who's been fighting alone for so long she doesn't know how to stop. I see someone who's been hurt so many times she expects it now. I see a girl who's so scared of being abandoned that she'd rather leave first." He paused. "But I also see the person who carried my blind son 4 miles because she made a promise. I see the girl who makes Ethan laugh, who helps him feel capable, who gave him something I couldn't give him." "Derek, I'm not finished." His voice was firm but gentle. "I see someone who deserves to be loved, who deserves to be protected, who deserves to belong somewhere." He turned to look at her. "You don't have to earn your place here, Lily. You already have it. It's not going anywhere. But what if I mess up? Then you mess up, and we deal with it, together. That's what family does. My real family died. I know. Derek's voice softened. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything you've been through. I'm sorry nobody was there to catch you when you fell. I'm sorry the world made you think you had to survive alone. Lily was crying openly now, the tears she'd been holding back for weeks finally breaking free. But you're not alone anymore, Derek continued. And I need you to believe that. Not for my sake, not even for Ethan's sake. For yours. I don't know how to believe it. Then we'll teach you. Every single day until you do. Derek stood and extended his hand. But first you need to come back inside. Because there's a little boy who's going to wake up in a few hours, and if you're not here, it'll break his heart. Lily looked at his hand. 18 months of survival instincts screamed at her to run, to protect herself, to not trust. But Ethan's voice echoed in her head. You're exactly right. I knew it the moment you found me. She took Derek's hand. He pulled her to her feet and into a hug that she didn't know she needed. Strong arms wrapped around her, holding her like she mattered, like she was worth protecting. You scared me tonight, Derek said quietly. Don't do that again. I'm sorry. I know. Now come on. Let's get you some food. You barely touched your dinner. They walked back inside together, and Lily left her backpack on the porch. She wouldn't need it anymore. The next morning, Ethan woke her up by climbing onto her bed. Lily, wake up. Something amazing happened. Lily groaned, still exhausted from the emotional night. What time is it? Early o'clock. But this is important. Ethan was bouncing with excitement. Daddy said we're doing something special today. A surprise. He said it's for you. For me, yep. But I can't tell you what it is because it's a secret, and I'm really good at keeping secrets except when I'm not. He paused. Please get up. I've been waiting forever. Lily smiled despite her exhaustion. Forever again, huh? At least 1,000,000 years this time? She got dressed and followed Ethan to the main room where Derek was waiting with Rosa and Big John. What's going on? Derek smiled. Get in the truck. We're going somewhere. They drove for 20 minutes. Lily watched unfamiliar streets pass by, trying to guess the destination. Then Derek pulled up to a small office building and parked. Family Services. Lily read the sign, her stomach dropping. Why are we here? Derek turned to face her. Because there's someone inside who wants to meet you. And I need you to trust me. I don't understand. You will. He paused. I've been working on something, since the day you came to us. It's taken 2 weeks of paperwork and phone calls and meetings, but it's finally ready. Lily's heart was pounding. What's ready? Come inside and see. They walked into the building together, Ethan holding Lily's hand, Derek leading the way. Rosa and Big John stayed close, a protective barrier around her. A woman met them in the lobby. Professional, kind eyes. Mr. Walker, this must be Lily. Yes, ma'am. The woman smiled at Lily. My name is Patricia. I've been working with Derek on your case. My case? We're going to take care of you, Patricia said. Properly this time. No more foster homes that don't want you. No more falling through the cracks. She glanced at Derek. Mr. Walker has filed papers to become your legal guardian. Lily stopped breathing. What? Derek crouched down to her level. I should have told you sooner, but I wanted to make sure it was going to work before I got your hopes up. The paperwork is almost done. A few more signatures, a few more formalities, and you'll legally be part of our family. But why? Because you belong with us. Because Ethan loves you. Because I love you. Derek's voice cracked slightly. Because I lost my wife 3 years ago, and I thought I'd never feel whole again. And then this skinny little homeless girl walked through my gate, carrying my son, and something clicked. Lily's legs felt weak. You want to be my dad, if you'll have me. Ethan squeezed her hand. Say yes, Lily, then you'll be my real sister forever and ever. Lily looked at Derek, at Rosa dabbing her eyes, at Big John pretending he wasn't emotional, at Ethan bouncing with hope. Yes, she whispered. Then louder, stronger. Yes. Derek pulled her into a hug, and Lily let herself collapse into it. Let herself believe. Let herself belong. Welcome to the family, Derek said, his voice thick. For real, this time. The paperwork took another hour. Signatures and forms and legal language that Lily didn't fully understand. But at the end, Patricia handed her a document that made everything official. Lily Chen Walker. She stared at the name for a long time. Walker, she said softly. That's me now. That's you now, Derek confirmed. If you want it. I want it. She looked up at him. I really want it. Ethan tugged at her sleeve. Now we have the same name, we match. Yeah, buddy, we match. They walked out of the building together, a family. Real and legal and permanent. Big John clapped Derek on the shoulder. You did good, brother. She did good. She just needed someone to give her a chance. Rosa hugged Lily tight. I knew the moment I saw you. You were meant to be here. Lily didn't trust herself to speak. She just held on. That night there was a celebration at the compound. Word had spread about the adoption, and every member of the Iron Wolves showed up to mark the occasion. Lily stood in the middle of the room wearing her vest, surrounded by people who had chosen her. Derek on one side, Ethan on the other. Rosa and Big John and Tommy and all the others who had become her family. Big John raised his glass. To Lily Chen Walker, the bravest 12-year-old I've ever met. Welcome to the pack, kid. To Lily, voices echoed around the room. Lily's face hurt from smiling. Later, after the party wound down, Derek found her sitting alone on the porch steps. You okay? Lily nodded. Just thinking. About what? About how different everything is. A month ago, I was sleeping under a bridge. Now I have a family, a real family. She paused. It doesn't feel real. It's real. Derek sat beside her. I know it's a lot to process, but you've got time. You've got forever, actually. Forever's a long time. That's kind of the point. Lily leaned against his shoulder, something she would never have done a month ago. Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I tried to leave. That's what dads do. They don't give up. I've never had one of those before. A real one. Well, you've got one now, and I'm not going anywhere. Ethan appeared in the doorway. Are you guys being mushy without me? Derek laughed. Get over here, kid. Ethan ran over and squeezed onto the step between them, his small body pressed between his father and his sister. This is perfect, Ethan said. All of us together. I knew it would be perfect. You knew, huh? I always knew, from the moment Lily found me. He reached for both their hands. She was always supposed to be my sister. I just had to wait for you guys to figure it out. Lily looked at Derek. Derek looked at Lily. He might be smarter than both of us, Derek said. Definitely smarter, Lily agreed. They sat together on the porch, watching the stars come out. A father who had lost hope. A daughter who had lost everything. A son who couldn't see, but somehow saw clearer than anyone. A family built from broken pieces stronger than anything that had tried to break them. "Hey, Lily." Ethan's voice was sleepy now. "Yeah, buddy. I love you." 3 words. Simple words. But they broke something loose in Lily's chest. Something that had been locked away for so long she'd forgotten it existed. "I love you too, Ethan." "And I love both of you," Derek added. "Now let's get inside before we all freeze." They walked in together, Ethan between them, holding both their hands. A family. Finally, a family. 6 months changed Lily in ways she couldn't have imagined. She grew taller, filled out. The bones that used to jut from her wrists disappeared under healthy flesh. Her cheeks lost their hollow angles. Her eyes lost the constant wariness that had defined her for 18 months on the streets. But the biggest changes were invisible. She laughed now. Real laughs, not the fake ones she used to force when she was trying to seem okay. She slept through the night without waking in panic. She walked into rooms without automatically scanning for exits. She belonged. "Lily, you're going to be late," Rosa's voice echoed through the compound. Lily grabbed her backpack and ran, nearly colliding with Ethan in the hallway. "Careful, buddy. You're the one running," Ethan pointed out. "I could hear you stomping from my room. You sound like a baby elephant." "Thanks for that." "You're welcome." He grinned. "Good luck at school today. Remember to eat lunch. You forgot yesterday." "How do you even know that?" "Rosa told me. She tells me everything." He paused. "Also, there's a surprise waiting for you after school, but I can't tell you what it is." "Another surprise." "Daddy says surprises are good for building excitement." Ethan bounced on his feet. "Are you excited?" Lily ruffled his hair. "I'm always excited when you're involved." "Good answer. Now go before Rosa yells again." School had gotten better. Not perfect, but better. Tyler still made comments sometimes, but Lily had learned to let them roll off. She had friends now. Not many, but real ones. Kids who saw past her history to the person underneath. But it was what happened after school that had become the most important part of Lily's days. She'd started noticing them a few months ago. The invisible kids. The ones who ate alone, the ones who wore the same clothes too many days in a row, the ones who flinched when adults raised their voices. She recognized them because she'd been one of them. The first kid she approached was a boy named Marcus, 12 years old, sleeping in his family's car after they lost their apartment. "I know what you're going through," Lily told him. "I've been there, and I know people who can help." Marcus had looked at her with the same suspicion she used to carry. "Why would you help me? You don't even know me." "Because someone helped me when I had nothing, and now it's my turn to help someone else." The Iron Wolves had mobilized immediately. Within a week, Marcus's family had temporary housing. Within a month, his dad had a job. Within 3 months, they were back on their feet. "You're building something," Derek told her one night. "Something bigger than you realize." "I'm just doing what you did for me." "Exactly. That's how it works. One person helps another, who helps another. That's how the world changes." Lily thought about that a lot. About ripples in water, about chains of kindness that stretched further than any single person could see. She'd helped 11 kids in 6 months. Not all of them had happy endings. Some fell back through the cracks despite everyone's best efforts. But most of them made it. Most of them found their footing. And every single one of them knew that someone had seen them. That they weren't invisible. That afternoon, Lily came home to find a familiar face waiting in the compound's main room, Carlos. The taco truck owner who had fed her and Ethan on the worst day of their lives. The man who had shown them kindness when the world had looked away. "Carlos." Lily's voice came out shocked. "What are you doing here?" Carlos stood, his weathered face breaking into a warm smile. I came to see what became of the brave girl who carried a blind boy through the desert. Lily hugged him without thinking. How did you find me? Your story made the news a few months ago. Local girl adopted by motorcycle club after saving member's son. He laughed. I recognized you immediately. Told my wife, that's the girl, the one I fed burritos. She didn't believe me until I called the compound. Derek stepped forward, shaking Carlos's hand. We've heard a lot about you. You helped Lily when she needed it most. That makes you family. I just gave them some food. It was nothing. It wasn't nothing. Lily's voice was thick. I was about to collapse. You gave us food and water and directions. You told me where to go. If you hadn't helped us... She couldn't finish. Carlos's eyes glistened. I've thought about you two every day since. Wondered if you made it. Prayed you were okay. He looked around the compound. And now look at you. You have a family, a home, a future. Because of people like you, Lily said. You started the chain. What chain? The kindness chain. You helped me, now I help other kids. And maybe someday they'll help someone else. She paused. It all started with you. Carlos wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. That's the most beautiful thing anyone's ever said to me. Ethan appeared drawn by the voices. Is someone crying? Why is someone crying? Is it good crying or bad crying? Good crying, buddy. Lily pulled him close. Very good crying. Derek invited Carlos to stay for dinner. Over tacos that Rosa made in Carlos's honor stories were shared. Laughter echoed through the room. Two worlds that should never have collided found common ground in a single act of kindness. You know what I've learned, Carlos said as the evening wound down. Everyone wants to believe they'd be a hero. But when the moment comes, most people look away. They tell themselves someone else will help. They protect themselves. He looked at Lily. But you didn't look away. You saw a child in need and you acted. That's rare. That's precious. I just did what felt right. That's exactly what makes it special. For you, helping was the natural choice. Most people have to fight their instincts to help strangers. You fight your instincts when you don't help. Carlos shook his head. Hold on to that, mija. Never lose that. Before he left, Carlos handed Lily an envelope. What's this? Open it. Inside was a check. A significant check, made out to the Iron Wolves Community Youth Fund. I can't accept this, Lily said immediately. It's not for you. It's for the kids you're helping. Consider it my contribution to the chain. Carlos smiled. You started something, Lily. Now, let me help you grow it. Derek looked at the check, then at Carlos. This is more than generous. It's an investment in kindness. Carlos hugged Lily one more time. Keep doing what you're doing. The world needs more people like you. After he left, Lily sat holding the check, overwhelmed. You okay? Derek asked. I don't understand why people keep believing in me. Because you earned it. Every single day you earn it. The Community Youth Fund grew. Word spread about what the Iron Wolves were doing. The feared motorcycle club that helped homeless kids. The bikers who showed up at shelters with supplies. The rough men who drove across town to check on teenagers who had nowhere else to turn. It started making the news. Big John gave an interview that went viral. We're not saints, he told the reporter. We've done things we're not proud of. But this kid showed up at our gate, 12 years old, homeless, carrying a blind boy she'd never met. And she asked for nothing. Nothing. She just wanted to get him home. He paused, visibly emotional. That changed something in us. Made us remember what family means. what protection means. Made us want to be better. The interview ended with a call for donations. The response was overwhelming. Within weeks, the Iron Wolves Community Youth Fund had enough money to open a proper shelter, a place specifically for homeless kids. Warm beds, hot meals, support services, everything Lily had needed and never had. They named it The Bridge. Because that's where you started, Derek explained at the dedication ceremony. And because bridges connect things, they help people get from where they are to where they need to be. Lily stood in front of the building, unable to speak. A year ago, she'd been sleeping under a highway overpass, invisible and forgotten. Now there was a shelter named for her journey, designed to help kids just like her. "You want to say something?" Derek asked gently. "You don't have to." Lily looked at the crowd. Iron Wolves members, social workers, reporters, kids from the compound, Rosa with tears streaming down her face, Big John pretending he wasn't emotional, and Ethan standing beside her holding her hand. "I was invisible once," Lily said, her voice shaky but clear. "I lived on the streets for 18 months. I ate from dumpsters. I slept under bridges. I thought I would be alone forever." The crowd went silent. "Then I found a little boy who needed help, and I made a choice. I chose to see him even though the world wanted me to look away. I chose to carry him even though my body was breaking. I chose to keep a promise, even though it was the scariest thing I'd ever done." She squeezed Ethan's hand. "That choice led me here, to a family who chose me back, to people who saw me when I'd forgotten how to be seen." Her voice cracked. "This shelter exists because someone helped me when I had nothing. And now, I want to help other kids feel what I feel. I want them to know they matter, that they're not invisible, that somewhere someone sees them." Applause erupted. Lily felt her face burning, unused to being the center of attention. But Ethan was bouncing beside her, clapping wildly. "That was amazing, Lily. You're famous now." "I'm not famous." "You're a little famous. I'm going to tell everyone at school my sister is famous." Derek pulled her into a hug. "I'm proud of you. So proud. I couldn't have done any of this without you." "That's not true. You could have done anything. You just needed someone to believe in you." That night after the ceremony, Lily sat on the porch steps where Derek had found her trying to run away 6 months ago. So much had changed since then. She was different. The world was different. Everything she'd believed about herself had been proven wrong. Ethan found her there, his footsteps careful on the wood. "Can I sit with you?" "Always." He settled beside her, his shoulder pressing against hers. "You're thinking again, I can tell." "How can you always tell? You breathe different when you're thinking. Slower. Like you're trying to be quiet in your own head." Lily smiled. "You're too smart for 8 years old." "Daddy says I get it from my mom." Ethan was quiet for a moment. "I wish she could have met you. She would have loved you." Lily's throat tightened. "I wish I could have met her too. She used to tell me that the best people are the ones who choose to be kind when being kind is hard, that anyone can be nice when it's easy, but real goodness shows up when it costs something." That sounds like something she'd say. "She said it a lot. I didn't really understand until you came." Ethan turned his head toward her. "You're real goodness, Lily. You were kind when it cost you everything. And now look what happened." Lily blinked back tears. "Sometimes I still can't believe it. Any of it." "I can believe it. I believed it the moment you picked me up. I told you, you were always supposed to be my sister. You and your always knowing things. Some things you just know." He paused. "Hey, Lily." "Yeah, buddy. Can you tell me the story again about when you found me?" "I've told you that story 100 times." I know, but I like hearing it. It's my favorite story. So Lily told it, for the 101st time, about hearing him cry, about giving him her water, about carrying him for 4 miles through heat that should have killed them both, about being terrified but doing it anyway, about walking through that gate with nothing left. Ethan listened with his eyes closed, a smile on his face. "You know what my favorite part is?" he asked when she finished. "What? The part where you almost left. When you heard I was an Iron Wolf's kid and you got scared, but you stayed anyway. That's your favorite part. The part where I almost abandoned you. No, the part where you chose not to, where you were scared but you kept your promise anyway." He reached for her hand. "That's when I knew for sure. That's when I knew you were my family." Derek appeared in the doorway. "You two going to sit out here all night?" "Maybe," Lily said. "It's nice out here." "Can't argue with that." Derek sat on Lily's other side, sandwiching her between father and son. "Big day today. How are you feeling?" "Overwhelmed, grateful, scared." "Scared of what? That I'll wake up and it'll all be gone, that this is just a really long dream." Derek put his arm around her shoulders. "It's not a dream. This is your life now. You earned it, every single bit of it. I still don't understand why you picked me, out of everyone. Why me?" "Because you picked us first." Derek's voice was soft. "You could have left Ethan anywhere, could have walked away, could have protected yourself. But you chose to carry my son home. You chose our family before you even knew we'd choose you back." "I didn't know what I was choosing. That's what makes it mean something. You chose blind. You chose without knowing the outcome. You chose because it was right, not because it would benefit you." He paused. "That's the kind of person I want in my family. That's the kind of person I want raising my son." Lily leaned into his shoulder. "Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I tried to run. Thank you for coming back." Ethan yawned loudly. "This is very nice, and I love both of you, but I'm getting tired, and someone needs to carry me inside." "Carry you?" Derek laughed. "You're 8 years old. You can walk." "But Lily carried me when I was 7. You should carry me now. It's only fair." "That's not how fair works. It should be." Lily stood and pulled Ethan to his feet. "Come on, buddy. I'll walk with you." "That's almost as good as carrying." They walked inside together, the three of them. A family built from broken pieces. A father who had lost hope. A daughter who had lost everything. A son who couldn't see but somehow saw clearer than anyone. 1 year ago, Lily Chen had been invisible. Forgotten. Alone. Now she was Lily Chen Walker. Daughter. Sister. Founder of a shelter that would help hundreds of kids find their way home. All because she stopped walking when she heard a child cry. All because she chose kindness when the world told her to look away. Rosa was waiting inside with hot chocolate. Big John was arguing with Tommy about something football-related. The compound was full of warmth and noise and life. This was home. This was family. This was everything she'd been afraid to want. Lily sat between Derek and Ethan, her hands wrapped around a warm mug surrounded by people who had chosen her. "Hey, Lily." Ethan's voice was sleepy now, his head drooping toward her shoulder. "Yeah, buddy. Promise you'll never be invisible again." Lily looked around the room, at Rosa smiling, at Big John laughing, at Derek watching her with pride in his eyes, at the vest hanging on the wall with her name stitched on the back. "I promise," she said. And for the first time in her life, she believed it. Ethan fell asleep against her shoulder, his small hand still holding hers. Derek covered them both with a blanket and kissed Lily's forehead. "Good night, kid." "Good night, Dad." The word came out naturally, easily, like it had always been there, waiting to be spoken. Derek's eyes glistened. He cleared his throat. "Good night." He walked away, but Lily saw him wipe his face with his hand. She sat there for a long time, holding Ethan, watching the fire, thinking about everything that had led to this moment. The pain, the loss, the fear, the 4-mile walk through hell that had brought her to heaven. Some people spend their whole lives searching for home. Lily had found hers in the arms of a little blind boy who saw her when the whole world was blind, and that made everything worth it. Every hungry night, every cold morning, every moment of invisible existence. It had all led here. The next morning, Lily woke to sunlight and the sound of Ethan bouncing on her bed. "Lily, wake up. It's a new day. New days are the best days." She groaned and pulled the pillow over her head. 5 more minutes. That's what you always say? And then 5 minutes becomes 10, and then 10 becomes 100. That's not how time works. It is when you're sleeping. He pulled the pillow away. "Come on, Rosa made pancakes." Lily looked at his face. Bright, happy, completely alive. This kid had changed her life, had given her a reason to be brave, had loved her when she'd forgotten how to let anyone close. "Okay," she said. "Okay, I'm up." "Good." Ethan grabbed her hand and pulled. "Today's going to be a great day. I can feel it." "How can you feel that?" "Because you're here. Every day you're here is a great day." Lily's heart swelled. She let Ethan lead her to the kitchen where Derek was already sitting with coffee and Rosa was flipping pancakes. Big John was stealing bacon from a plate. Tommy was arguing that he deserved more bacon than Big John. Normal. Chaotic. Perfect. This was her life now. Not surviving. Living. Not invisible. Seen. Not alone. Loved. Lily sat down at the table and watched her family move around her. These people who had taken a chance on a homeless girl. These people who had seen something worth saving. She thought about the bridge where she used to sleep, about the kids she'd helped find their way home, about Carlos and his kindness, about every single choice that had led to this moment. Ethan climbed into the chair beside her. "What are you smiling about?" "Everything," Lily said. And she meant it. Because sometimes the worst days lead to the best days. Sometimes the longest walks take you exactly where you need to be. Sometimes the people who scare you most become the family you never knew you needed. And sometimes a homeless girl carries a lost, blind boy through the desert, and both of them find their way home. That's not just a story, that's the truth. And Lily Chen Walker was living proof. If this story moved, you consider subscribing to this channel. We share stories about ordinary people who choose extraordinary kindness. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that they matter. Comment, "I see you" below, and let's build a community that notices the invisible. Because everyone deserves to be seen. Everyone deserves to belong. And sometimes the smallest act of kindness creates ripples that change the entire world. Lily learned that carrying a scared, blind boy through the desert. Now she lives it every single day, and that is how invisible girls become unforgettable.